Kareth walked through the silent city with slow, careful steps. Dust rose in soft curls around his boots. The ruins of Voth Prime did not shout. They whispered. Broken pillars leaned like tired elders. Faded murals showed ships, harvests, and councils that no longer met. Kareth held a small scanner in his hand. Its light moved over stone, reading marks and tiny traces of paint. He had been here for 3 days and had slept very little. He was not tired in a bad way. He felt the good pull of a puzzle that asked for patience. He reached the far end of the plaza and stopped at a low wall. Someone long ago had carved a final line here, careful and deep so time could not blur it. Kareth knew the words already. He had seen them on 9 other worlds in 9 scripts with 9 kinds of grammar, but he still read them out loud, voice soft as if speaking with the stones. They guard something worse. Seek soul, he let out a long breath, the same line again. The same strange tone. Not fear of humans as a people, not a call for war or flight. Only a pointing finger toward Earth and a hint that what humans guarded was worse. Worse than what? A weapon, a plague, or something that empires in their last hour felt was harder than any storm. Kareth saved a fresh scan and looked up at the pale sky. He thought of the 9 files on his ship, the Siren. He thought of his desk back home, covered in paper strips and small numbered stones. He thought of his grandmother, who had taught him to listen before deciding. Records do not shout, they breathe, she used to say. Let them breathe in you first. He smiled at the memory and turned back toward the shuttle bay. The Siren waited in orbit, a long shape with smooth edges and a quiet heart. Captain HFY ran it with a steady hand. She did not like large crews or loud orders. She liked checklists and careful charts. When Kareth stepped onto the bridge, she looked up from a display and gave a short nod. That was her way of saying welcome back. Same line, she asked. Same line, he said. Again and again, like a road sign. The captain folded her arms. The cooperative authorized our approach to Seoul. We can leave when you confirm. Kareth felt the small jump of nerves he always felt before first contact with a place that carried many stories. I confirm, he said. We go to Seoul. The stars drew long as the ship aligned. The Siren did not boast. It moved with soft burns and clean arcs, letting the math do the work. Days flowed in smooth routines. Kareth read the 9 files again. He read them out loud when he was alone so he could hear the rhythm of the words, the way the last lines always slowed and cooled. Empires that had ruled, traded, fought, and argued all ended on the same sentence. They guard something worse. In the common room, crew members asked quiet questions. What did humans guard? Why did no one ever say it plainly? Kareth did not answer with big guesses. He said what he knew. The notes were not angry. The notes were not fearful in a wild way. The notes were steady, like someone leaving a label for the next person. That was the strange part. When the Siren crossed into the far edge of the solar system, the view changed. Small dots of ice and rock drifted by. The sensors picked up faint pulses on the rim of the Kuiper belt. They were not strong. They were old and careful, like tiny lanterns on a dark road. The pattern drew a kind of arch shape in space, what some ruins had called the Quiet Gate. Kareth leaned forward over the plot. The markers had been corrected recently. Not replaced, not rebuilt, just tuned like someone tending an old garden. A voice arrived on a narrow band, clear and calm. Research Cruiser Siren. This is Custodian Anarasol of Earth's Outer Watch. Welcome to the quiet end of our yard. Please reduce speed and follow the tender's line. We will guide you with a slow hand, Captain Veer replied in the same calm way. Custodian Anara, we follow. Kareth listened to Anara's tone. It held no shine of display, no push. It sounded like someone used to hard work done without trumpets. A small human tender approached. It was not a big warship or a showpiece. It had clear panels where the crew could be seen moving tools and small plants. Kareth watched humans pass a sealed box from one workbench to another. One of them laughed in a gentle way at something a friend said. The tender repeated its hand signs twice, slowly so there could be no mistake. They drifted for hours along a path that felt simple by choice. No loud shields, no pointed cannons. The tender guided them behind a mild screen of field lines near Neptune. A station came into view, modest and round, with windows like quiet eyes. Outpost Hestia, Anara said. We built it to keep small things in order. Kareth and Captain Veer arrived at the docking ring with a small team. The air on the human station smelled like clean metal and warm tea. Anara met them in a plain jacket with a name tag and a neat braid. She had a kind face that did not try to be charming. She shook hands with each person as if she had time for them. "Welcome," she said. "You came a long way to ask a careful question. Thank you for asking it carefully." They walked through bright corridors with plants along the walls. People moved with unhurried focus. A child's drawing of Saturn hung near a panel fixed with tape. Nothing tried to impress them. The lack of display itself became a display, Kareth thought, and he filed that thought for later. Anara led them into a sealed room. It held a glass case with a slate inside. The slate was from Voth Prime. Kareth recognized the carved style at once. The same last line ran across it, clean and deep. "They guard something worse. Seek soul." He felt the quiet shock of seeing an original he had only known by scan. "We keep many such slates," Anara said. "We return some when families asked. We keep others when no one remains to claim them." The words troubled you. They troubled others. They did not trouble us as much as you might think. Kareth looked up. "Why not?" Anara met his eyes. "Because the line does not point at humans as a threat. It points at what we guard. The word worse is not about harm. It is about how hard something can be." Captain Veer glanced at Kareth, then back to Anara. "You will name it? I will show you the path to it," Anara said. "We never start with the answer. We start with the order of learning, so the answer can land in a ready mind. If we give the word too early, the word turns into a flag or a fear. We prefer a slower way." Kareth felt a small warmth at that. "Slow is not a fault," he said. Anara's mouth turned in a brief smile. "We agree." They toured the outpost. Kareth saw rooms for study, rooms for rest, and rooms for quiet talk. He saw a lab where two people discussed how to store artifacts from other worlds without letting those artifacts teach the wrong lesson too fast. He saw a small garden with lamps set to a soft dawn. The garden beds held plants from many places, each labeled with simple cards. A child's shoe print marked the dirt by one row. The sight made him feel the old future, the one that grows day by day. As they moved, Kareth asked short questions. "Who maintains the Kuiper markers? Why the clear panels in the tender hull?" Anara's answers were clear. "The markers are old. Their math is older. Humans maintain them because good things deserve care even when we do not use them daily. The panels show the crew so visitors can see ordinary work. We have found that people relax when they see tools in use and hands making small fixes," she said. "Big shows make people tense." Back in a meeting room, Anara placed 3 small objects on the table. A smooth pebble with a strange ring pattern, a folded sheet that did not crease, and a tiny mirror that curved light in a way that made the wall seem to bend. "These are copies of things we keep far from easy reach," she said. "Not weapons. They are safe in small forms. We study how certain things change us just by being near us. We learn to be careful." Kareth listened, and the line from the ruins moved again in his mind. "They guard something worse." He felt the shape of an answer form, not in words yet, but in weight. Whatever the humans guarded, it was not a blast or a blade. It felt like a door many rulers would not open because they feared what would step through into their own houses. Anara looked out the window. The station turned slowly, and space shifted to show a faint ring of lights far beyond Pluto. So distant they were almost not there at all. They formed a patient circle in the dark, small and constant. "We call that the Ember Circle," she said. "It is quiet and it is not secret, but we do not speak of it in loud places. You have come kindly. If you wish, we will take you there and show you why we accepted a burden that others called worse." Captain Veer kept her gaze steady. "Is there danger to our crew if we go?" "There is no harm," Anara said. "There is only work, and the kind of answer that asks something in return." Kareth felt his heart lift and settle at once, like a ship touching a pier. He thought of his grandmother again, of breathing with the records. He looked at the slate in the glass and then back to the quiet ring in the far dark. He nodded once. "I would like to see," he said. "I would like to understand what the 9 worlds could not say plainly." Anara gathered the small objects and set them gently into a case. "Then we will go together," she said. "We will move slowly. We will let the answer arrive in the right order." As they prepared to depart, crew members from both sides shared small talk, coffee that tasted like rain, a story about a broken hinge fixed with a coin, the best way to grow a plant from a cutting. Nothing large happened, and yet everything felt poised. Through the window, the ember points waited with patient light. The path lay open, not with banners or warnings, but with quiet invitat. The Saren followed the tender through the quiet dark. The crew moved with careful hands and soft voices. Kareth stood by the main viewport and watched the faint lights ahead grow a little brighter. The ember circle did not look like a fortress. It looked like a group of lanterns set in a wide ring, each one steady and small, as if someone had promised to keep them lit no matter how long the night became. Custodian Anara's voice came over the link. "We will arrive at the first hall in a few minutes," she said. "Please power down any strong fields. We keep the ring gentle by design." Captain Veer nodded to her team. Switches clicked. The ship's hum lowered to a quiet murmur. Kareth felt his own breathing slow to match it. He thought of the 9 worlds again and the last line they had left behind. He felt close to the answer now, close enough to sense its outline even if he did not have the word. They docked with a light touch. A soft green lamp blinked twice to show a perfect seal. Anara met them in a corridor with white walls and easy light. The floor had small marks, the kind that come from carts and shoes. The place felt alive with simple use. "Welcome to the Circle," she said. "You will see 3 halls today, the gallery, the library, and the garden. After that, if you still wish, we will go to the core." "The core," Kareth repeated. The word hung in his mind like a key he had not yet turned. They began with the gallery. It was not a room of trophies. It was a long loop with clear cases, each case holding one careful copy of a thing from a fallen world, a stone that sang at the edge of hearing, a ribbon of metal that refused to bend where it should, a mirror that made the air shimmer and a person's face look a little too proud. "These copies are mild," Anara said. "They cannot do harm by themselves. We use them to teach the lesson of what we call shortcut things. A shortcut thing is not always a device. Sometimes it is a method or a rule or a story that makes hard work feel simple. It can be useful at first, and then it starts to shape the people who use it. Slowly it asks for more. It asks for space and time and silence around it so that no one questions it." Kareth paused by the singing stone. The note felt warm and peaceful in his chest. It made his eyes want to rest. He understood at once how leaders might love it. "This stops arguments," he said. "It would feel like a gift in a loud room." "It does stop arguments," Anara said. "And then people stop the kind of thinking that makes good arguments. After a while, the room is quiet, but not in a healthy way." Captain Veer looked at the mirror. Her mouth pressed thin for a second, then eased. "This one makes applause sweeter." "Yes," Anara said. "There is nothing wrong with thanks. But this mirror turns thanks into a need. Strong leaders can still choose to put the mirror away. Weak leaders will build bigger halls so it can flatter them harder." They moved on. Kareth took notes, not to rush toward a conclusion, but to hold each small picture steady. 9 worlds had written the same sentence. He did not want to miss the thread that ran through them. The library came next. It smelled like paper and fresh air and a little coffee. Screens showed small lines of text, not loud colors. People at quiet desks read and typed and drew diagrams.
Anara led them to a table with a stack of journals from the Voth, translated and annotated.
"We do not hide these," she said. "We send copies to anyone who asks. We just do not sing about them in markets." Kareth opened the first journal. The handwriting was careful, the pages neat. The Voth author wrote about a tool that made decisions easier in the capital. At first, the tool removed chaos. Then it removed the time needed for slow debate. Then it removed a few voices that did not fit the quick path. By the end, it had removed trust. He closed the book and sat back. "The same pattern," he said. "A shortcut thing helps, then it guides, then it rules." Anara's eyes were kind. "This is the part where many people get angry. Not at us, not at the old empires. They get angry at how easy it is to accept a little help and not see how the help is shaping them." Captain Veer looked around the room again. "And you keep these lessons open, not locked?" "Open," Anara said. "Locked things grow rumors. Open things grow questions." They walked to the garden. It sat under a soft light that moved through a gentle day cycle in a few hours. Small trees from many worlds stood in a circle around a clear pool. The pool reflected the ceiling in a steady way that made Kareth feel grounded. A person with soil under their nails waved as they passed. "We use the garden to set our pace," Anara said. "Some answers come fast. This one should not. We give people a little time here so their minds can settle from the gallery and the books." Kareth found himself smiling. "Your path is a path of breath," he said. Anara's smile answered his. Yes, they sat on a low bench near the water. For a long minute, no one spoke. The soft day moved across their faces. The small trees made a faint sound that was almost like speech if a person relaxed enough to hear it. When Anara spoke again, her voice was gentle but firm. There is one more place. We call it the core. I will name the object there now because you have seen enough to hold the name without making it a flag. Kareth felt his spine straighten just a little. It is called the tessellate, Anara said. It is old. We do not know how old. It does not break things or cure things. It asks a true question of a person or a people, and then it shows them a self-portrait they cannot deny. Not a cruel portrait, a clear one. After that, people can choose what to do, but they cannot pretend they did not see. Kareth breathed out. The line from the ruins unlocked in his mind. They guard something worse. He heard the missing words now. Worse for denial, worse for control, worse for the comfort of shortcuts. Not worse for living. Worse for lying to oneself. Many rulers would rather fall than face it, he said. Many did, Anara said. Some did not. The ones who chose to face it had a hard decade and then a better century. We keep the tessellate, but we do not force it on anyone. We only offer it after a year of lessons, exchanges, and votes. We learned that consent is part of the answer. Captain Veer nodded slowly. If we go to the core, what will happen? We will not turn it on for you, Anara said. Not today. You have not walked the year with us, but we can show you the room, the controls, the guardrails, and the way we prepare crews and citizens for the question. You can speak with people who chose to face it last season. Some cried. Some laughed. All of them chose with open eyes. Kareth looked at the pool. He saw his face there, small and steady. I want to see the room, he said. They stood, and then the calm broke. A sharp tone sounded in the air. Not a harsh alarm, but a clear bell that asked for attention. A duty officer jogged up with a tablet. A ship just dropped in near the outer markers, she said, breathing evenly. Cooperative hull. The Vigilant Reef. They are not on our schedule. Anara thanked her and tapped the link on her wrist. A new voice filled the hallway. It was proud and quick. This is Prefect Taylor of the Vigilant Reef, it said. We request immediate access to the core for state stability testing. Anara's reply was as even as the garden light. Prefect, welcome. Please hold position. We will send you the open brief and prepare a meeting room. There is no time for your slow system, Taylor said. We will anchor near the core now. Captain Vire and Kareth shared a look. The officer showed Anara a live map. The reef had started to push close, and its field lines tugged at the thin balances that kept the circle stable. The cases in the gallery did not shake, but their support numbers changed color. Anara did not shout. She did not harden her tone. She opened a wideband channel to the reef's crew, not just their leaders. Vigilant Reef, she said. We will broadcast our tour live. You may watch the gallery, the library, the garden, and hear our rules. We ask you to pause your anchoring move for 10 minutes while you watch. If you still wish to approach, we will discuss it in public. Kareth felt the air change, not in pressure but in mood. The reef's crew could now see everything. They could see the small benches. They could see the pool. They could see his quiet face and the soil on the gardener's hands. The crew of the reef began to murmur on their own link, soft and human, like any crew seeing an unexpected thing. The numbers on the officer's tablet held steady. The reef slowed a little, not stopped but less eager. Taylor's voice came back tighter. We cannot be ruled by your theater. This is not theater, Anara said. This is the work. If you want the core for unity, show us unity on your own bridge. Let your crew see what you ask for. Let them tell you if they are ready to look in a mirror. Kareth had never seen power used this way. No threats. No glitter. Only truth placed where everyone could see it at once. He felt a quiet respect rise in him, a respect that had nothing to do with fear. He stepped closer to the camera, not to perform, but to speak with simple words. Prefect Taylor, he said, I am Kareth of Andelia. I came with questions and found a path. If you wish to walk fast, walk first. We will watch with care. On the map, the reef's path bent again. The ship hovered at the edge of safety, like a person standing on a dock with one foot on a small boat. The moment could still go wrong. The cases in the gallery hummed softly, their fields holding steady but alert. Anara lifted her hand, palm open to the camera. We will hold this channel open, she said. We will keep the garden light steady. If you choose to pause, we will meet you in kindness. If you choose to push, we will protect the circle without harm. Please choose. The vigilant reef hung at the edge of the safe line like a held breath. Engines hummed in a thin, tense note. The ember circle kept its steady light small and patient, as if refusing to rush the moment. Kareth stood beside Anara and Captain Veer. He watched the status display and saw tiny numbers flicker between safe and almost unsafe. The reef could stop, or it could slide one step too far and make every field in the circle work too hard at once. Anara spoke on the open channel again, voice calm and clear. Prefect Taylor, your crew can now see what we do here. We are not hiding the path. We are only asking you to walk it in the right order. Please pause anchoring and hold position. There was a long, crackling silence. Then Taylor answered, not to Anara at first, but to his own bridge. We cannot look uncertain in front of outsiders, he said, voice tight. We came to act. Kareth stepped forward, not to argue, but to offer something small and real. Prefect Taylor, he said, you are not the only one with people watching. The Sarian's crew is also watching me. I am an archivist. I do not lead ships. I do not make laws. But I can do one small thing. I can go first. Taylor's image appeared on a side screen. He looked at Kareth with a mix of annoyance and interest. Go first in what? In the practice mirror, Kareth said. He turned to Anara. You said there is a guided pre-question. Let me take it now. Let the reef crew and the Serene crew see it happen. If I can do it without fear, perhaps we all can slow down. Anara nodded once. We can do that. She led Kareth and Captain Veer to a small room near the core corridor. It was not dramatic. It held a chair, a round table, a simple device the size of a bowl, and a plant in a clay pot. A camera already sent the view to both ships. Anara placed her hand on the table and looked into the lens. This practice does not force anything, she said. It only reflects one small truth a person is ready to see. No shame, no punishment. Only a choice of what to do next. Kareth sat. His hands were steady. He had read so many last pages. He wanted to write a better one for today. Anara spoke a simple prompt to the device. Show a gentle truth that can help. The room grew a little quieter, like the pause before rain. The plant's leaves seemed brighter for a breath. Kareth felt a soft pressure behind his eyes, not pain. More like the feeling of remembering a song he had not heard in a long time. A small image formed in his mind, his desk back home covered with notes and stones. He saw himself sorting them a third time when a letter from a junior archivist lay unopened beside his tea. The letter asked for advice. He had told himself he would answer later, after one more review. He had never answered. He saw very clearly what that meant. He loved records. He loved care. But sometimes he loved the safety of sorting more than the risk of helping someone early. He had chosen perfect order over a kind reply. The image faded. No voice judged him. No light flashed wrong. The room was just a room again. Kareth let out a breath he had not known he held. He looked at Anara and Captain Veer. I have a message to write when I go home, he said. I will write it today. Captain Veer's face softened. That was not terrible, she said, almost smiling. It was not terrible, Kareth agreed. It was clear. On the reef, a murmur ran through the crew. The camera showed only Kareth's calm face and the quiet plant. A young engineer on the reef's bridge spoke up, not to Taylor alone, but to the open channel. Prefect, let me try it, she said. If it is safe for an archivist, it is safe for me. Taylor hesitated. The display showed him looking at his crew, at their open faces. He was used to speaking for them. He was not used to them speaking to him in front of others. It was not rebellion. It was simple courage. Anara nodded to a technician. We can link a practice mirror to your medbay, Vigilant Reef, she said. It will show a small truth to one volunteer under your doctor's eye. No risk, no delay. 2 minutes, there was a small practical bustle on the reef. A med light blinked on. The young engineer sat. The practice mirror ran. She blinked, then laughed once in surprise, tears bright but not sad. I keep skipping the morning checks on the old cooling pumps, she said softly. No one noticed yet. I told myself I was efficient. I was just chasing new work because it felt more clever. I can fix that today. The reef's crew was very quiet after that. Not afraid. Thoughtful. They looked at Taylor and at their posts and at their own hands. The hum of the reef's engines dropped half a tone. The ship eased back to the safe line without fuss. Taylor's jaw worked once. He spoke at last, and the shape of his words was different. Less iron, more bone. We will hold position, he said. We will take the open brief. We will meet. Thank you, Anara said. They moved to a larger room with a round table and good microphones. Anara did not turn the tessellate on. She showed the doors to the core and the layered safeties. Consent keys that required broad agreement, a timer that enforced slow pace, and a seal that only opened after the year-long path. She showed charts of how crews and citizens prepared, classes in logic, history, and care, visits between worlds, public questions. She offered case studies from people who had faced the full question last season. Some found they had built their pride on a narrow skill. Some found they had ignored a neighbor's steady help. All had chosen a first small change within a week. None had been punished. All had been helped. Captain Veer listened with the focus she gave to hard maneuvers. Your strength is not hidden, she said at last. It is the order of your steps. Anara inclined her head. We had to learn it. We did not begin wise. We made quick choices in our past that hurt us. When we found the tessellate, we decided we would not let it be used as a hammer. We would make it a mirror held by many hands. Taylor looked at the core door. His face softened, and he surprised everyone by telling a simple story. When I was new, I won a prize by using a trick in budget math, he said. It was legal. It made me look fast and bright. After that, I reached for that trick again and again. It didn't feel wrong. It felt efficient. Today I saw how a shortcut can become a habit, and a habit can become a rule you never say out loud. No one pushed him to say more. The quiet accepted his words and let them rest. Prefect, Anara said gently, if your world ever asks to walk the year with us, we will welcome you. If not, we will still send teachers for any subject you request. The path begins with learning, not with the machine. Taylor nodded. We will begin with classes, he said. No promises beyond that. It was humble for him. It was enough for today. The meeting ended with no grand stamped treaty. It ended with a schedule. Readings, visits, and a return call in 1 month to review questions raised by crews and citizens. The reef powered back to a courteous distance and began to broadcast an honest internal note about the day. Captain Veer sent her own clear log to the cooperative, free of drama and rich in detail. Before the Serene undocked, Anara invited Kareth to see the core room from the doorway. He agreed. They walked down a simple hall with lights like morning. The door opened to a space as plain as a school gym, clean and empty except for a low platform at the center. On it sat the tessellate, a shape that seemed to change its lines when he did not look directly at it, not to be mysterious, but because his mind kept trying to fit it into old boxes and failing. There were no carvings that promised destiny. There were no flames. There was only a patient object and the soft marks of many feet on the floor. The quiet made Kareth feel taller and smaller at the same time. He did not step onto the platform. He did not need to. The sight from the door was enough to understand why the 9 worlds had written what they wrote. He could see how rulers who loved control would call this worse. He could see how people who loved truth would call it better. Anara stood beside him in the doorway. This is what we guard, she said softly. Not to keep it from others, but to keep the way to it honest. Kareth nodded. The sentence in the ruins was right, he said, and yet it was missing a second line. What line would you add? Anara asked. He smiled a little. They guard something worse for tyrants and better for everyone else. Anara's eyes warmed. That is close to what we write in our handbook, she said. We use different words, but the meaning is the same. On the day the Serene departed, the garden staff gave Kareth a small cutting from a plant that did well in many gravities. It likes patient light, the gardener said, and it forgives missed water if you come back with care. Kareth placed it in a clear case in his cabin. He looked at it as Neptune's blue faded behind them and the stars brightened ahead. He opened his desk and wrote a message to the junior archivist whose letter he had ignored. He apologized. He offered time and help. He sent the note with a steady hand. Captain Veer stood with him at the viewport. What will you write in your report? She asked. The truth, Kareth said. That Earth guards a machine that asks a true question. That they do not force it. That their strength is the order of their steps and the calm of their hands. That the hard thing they guard is not harm. It is change. He paused, then added, and I will write what I saw on the reef. That when people see clear work in open light, many choose the better path even without orders. Captain Veer nodded. That is a good last line. she said. Kareth thought of the 9 ruin walls and the one in the glass on Outpost Hestia. He thought of adding his own line to the long chain of notes. He wrote it in his journal, simple and clean. Earth keeps watch.